They've made an updated intake camshaft, cam bridge, and cam magnet.
Yep.
And we're going to install that right now. So, here's your specified value of timing. Here's the actual, bouncing all over the place. This is going to be your go-to when you have misfires on every cylinder and everything else looks good. You want to check this out. So basically we're misfiring because we're not in timing correctly.
Okay.
Yeah. So the cam phaser is not actuating the way it should. Oil level. Oil level's low, but still pretty good. If it's in these hash marks, it's not going to be an oil issue. Well, it's misfiring because the cam is not working correctly.
Yeah.
The timing mechanism.
But you're checking the oil to make sure it's down.
Because if it's low on oil, it won't work correctly. It's an oil-driven system.
Okay.
They've made an updated intake camshaft, cam bridge, and cam magnet.
Yep.
And we're going to install that right now. Teen Beetle CPPA engine code.
CPPA?
CPPA, yes.
T30s, the airbox. Bunch of T30s. Pulling the nuts on top of the coils. What are they, 10s? Pulling the 10s that hold the coil down. That's cut-off valve harness.
Yep.
Pulling the coils. Be careful with your harnesses.
Disconnect the wastegate module from the turbo.
Disconnect the wastegate module from the turbo.
Yep.
What hoses?
It's the N80 hose, the breather line. Alright, unplug the oil pressure switches.
T30s. What bracket is that?
It's an engine support bracket. Give you some room when you take that out for later. Just like this guy. Push this out of the way.
What is that doing?
That's a spark plug boot. They get stuck a lot.
Is it broken or is it just...
No, it just needs to be raised. Pretty clear here, pretty clear here. 230 here.
17 mil open end wrench for the high pressure fuel.
Yep.
T30, the fuel pump.
Yep. Give it a little turn.
Give it a turn. Reason being?
So you don't have to loosen the bottom of the other side of the line. You don't want to.
I see.
Save a little time. All this stuff. Put it off to the side.
What is this called down here? That
brake vacuum pump.
what you do when the coil gets stuck. Spray a little silicone, right?
Yep. Silicone will compress there.
Impressive. Did you learn that trick?
Texas about it.
That's good. 10 mil for the coolant reservoir. 10 mil for the wiper fluid reservoir.
T25s for the coolant reservoir.
T25 for the coolant reservoir. Support bracket for the engine mount. 216s. 216s. T25s. Just removing the T45. T45, 30 newts.
Make sure you don't hit the oil level sensor with the jack.
Don't hit the oil level sensor.
Yeah, it will break.
Two 18s. Just remove the engine mount. Jacking it up a little bit further so we can remove the engine bracket. What was it? 3 triple square 12s?
3 12s.
Sit in there, and whenever he needed a small hand, I'm just fascinated by it.
What'd you do before this?
Freight company.
Freight.
Everything stuff well.
Just remove the engine
Went through
bracket.
divorce.
3 triple square 12s. T30s. Camshaft magnet. This is crazy. Averages 8 hours a day.
Makes it look so easy, though.
So, $2 another T30.
What do you mean by
This is the upper
socket
timing
size.
cover. Moving like
this is what
T30s.
I was shipping everything together from Italy. Well, first before that. But then COVID hit, all the stuff and everything.
Specialty tool. Hold on. Specialty tool, reverse thread. Was it good or no? You're gonna put a new one in.
We're doing it with the cam. The cam, this won't fit in the new cam. That was
really?
a T10 352/2.
That's a good story. 2 months in, I own it. You guys aren't.
To be honest, you know what that is. That's just
Specialty tool. We're gonna crank it around.
It's gonna be this notch here, this dot, and this notch, and they're gonna line up with these 2 teeth. See that little tooth right there? See
Yeah.
the little tooth right there?
Oh, that's really, is that?
On this motor, this is where
Yeah.
they line up. All right.
So we're just trying to put the engine in time.
They just need to be approximate.
Approximate. There's a notch. Point to that notch real quick.
One notch right here.
Yep. And then
One
right
notch
there. More T30s. What is that called? That
Part of the head.
part of the head? Okay.
We're gonna put the special tool in.
Oh, the one you showed me earlier.
Yeah.
And this just compresses the chain,
The tensioner.
the tensioner.
Yep.
And you screw them in to where those other 2 bolts you just pulled out.
Yep.
They 10s.
Yep.
Just making a couple marks on the chain, front and rear. Tens.
Get that thing out of the way.
What was that part called?
The brake vacuum pump.
Brake vacuum pump.
Roll paper towel. Put it in the feed hole for the oil, the supply. Pack it under there.
Before we get too far ahead, what's the marks on the chains for?
So we know where to put the new cam. This is not the official way to do this. This is the, we'll say, the easy way to do this job.
Alright, so explain that to me.
This is just the way I like to do this job without taking off the lower timing cover, without taking off the oil pan. Like I said, this is not the official way to do it, but it works, and it works very well.
We're putting the marks on there so we know where the timing is.
Put some tension on the tool.
Yep.
And put a 16 ratchet behind it. That'll hold a little bit of relief on the chain. There's our top dead center mark. That's our mark on the chain we made there. And carefully remove our last two
T30s.
T30s.
This just cracks me up at the wrench.
What?
No, it's smart. It's just, I would never think of that. How did you determine 16?
That was one that just fit the best. Get that up out of the way. Carefully pop the cover off. Okay. Okay, we're good there and there. Okay. There's our bed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's definitely loose. So we're back on our center mark there.
Okay.
Still on the mark back there. That hasn't moved. This is the only cam we did move, and we are back.
Put this cover back on.
Temporarily put it back on.
Yeah. This cover back on temporarily because this is, not safe to be there forever. So we take that out.
Tightening up the two T30s down below. Marking those at what?
8 Newton meters.
8 newtons. And those are connected to the top part of the head.
Yeah.
You do a shot. Those two right there, A and B. So it's 8 newtons plus a 90 on both of those two center bolts that we pulled out. Putting the cam bridge back in. Make sure your screen is in it.
This one doesn't have a screen.
Oh no?
Nope.
Tightening the bridge bolts. You said 4 newtons?
Yeah, if they're aluminum, 4 Newton meters.
They're aluminum, 4 newton meters.
And these are aluminum.
So guy in the back?
8 Newton meters.
8 newton meters for this guy in the back. The newts?
35.
35. Part number, I'll read it. T0352.
Meters.
8 newtons. 8 newton meters plus a 90. Now this pretty much holds everything in place.
That pretty much will lock down that.
Okay.
So now we're not worried about it moving.
Oh, I see. I got you. You gotta polish it up, right?
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys, not finished yet, but it's looking pretty good. We're just cleaning out the groove.
Yep.
Give it a little wash down. Spray her down with some brake cleaner. All nice and shiny. Cleaned up, ready to go. Assembly lube. And what is this part called again?
This is the valve cover slash
Valve cover.
cam caps.
Now we're putting in all the T30s. Any tips on this?
Nope. Get them first. Get them in there.
We're just screwing them down just until it starts to ooze,
Yep.
because there is a torque spec. Are these ones 8?
Yep. 8 and a 90.
8 and the 90. 8 plus a 90. Alrighty, this is the seal that we used. Part number. There we go. That's the seal we used. And you're torquing them from the inside out, right? Start
Yep.
from the middle
Yep.
and alternate both sides. Be painful doing it with the other torque wrench.
Yeah.
'Cause what would you just mark the bolts?
Yeah. Just turn them clockwise.
And then, what are we connecting again? What is this?
Brake vacuum pump.
Brake vacuum pump.
Vacuum pump.
Vacuum pump.
Yeah, not vacuum.
So why do you loosen it with?
What?
Why do you loosen it with 10s and then tighten it with?
The 10s have T30 holes in them. So I just put whatever is on my
Okay.
instrument at the time.
It's brake vacuum pump.
Yeah.
So there's a bad connection in on the house. How many newts?
8.
8 newts.
It's programmed.
So we're installing the upper cam cover,
Upper timing cover.
upper timing cover.
Yep.
230s.
Now what do you say?
8 newts.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one more. How many newtons for these guys? 4. 4 newtons because they are aluminum. And what if they're steel? 8.
8.
Installing the dipstick. Does this particular one have a steel on the down below?
Yep.
Stainless. Installing the installing the engine mount.
Bracket.
Triple square 12s. 3 triple square 12s. Snug in the triple square 12s. What's that, 3/8 ratchet?
Yeah.
Installing the engine mount, 2/16s and 2/18s. Hand tighten first. Installing the little bracket, 2/13s. Tightening the 2/16s. Tightening the 2/13s. Installing the 2/18s. Thread them by hand first. Installing the antifreeze reservoir, 225s.
Yep. They're gonna be like, well, why is the productivity down?
Antifreeze harness. Installing the 10mm. The windshield wash. T30s. It's the oil separator.
Yep.
Installing the coils. Make sure you put them back in the same order you pulled them. $10 mil. Plugging in the harness. With the ground.
For the coils, yeah.
Don't forget to put the grounds on your coils. Any tips or tricks with this?
Yeah, I just showed it to you.
You twisted it.
Turn it in, yeah. That's the big trick.
T30. $17 for the fuel line. Plugging in some harnesses.
I'm not gonna plug that one in. Lift brackets.
Lift brackets. So the T10s or
T30s.
triples.
T30s.
T30s?
On these ones, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. T30s for the motor mount bracket. With a bracket.
Bracket and then the little
T30.
bracket. Yeah, another bracket for the fuel on it.
What's the bracket to?
One bracket for the fuel line and then one bracket for the harness right there.
What are we plugging in?
Cutoff valve,
Plugging in what?
oil pressure switches,
Cleaning up the hoses. What was that last hose you just connected?
the N80 valve vent line,
What does that do?
vents fuel vapor into the engine.
Connected that little harness right there.
Map sensor.
Map sensor. Pulling the oil filter. 25 newtons on the oil cap. How much oil?
6.2.
6.2, no?
Yep.
That's impressive. Installing the air box. Cutting in the T30 for the air box.
Filtered air.
Alrighty guys, it starts up. What do you explain?
Here's our camshaft adjustment specified value, and here's our new actual value.
So we're in by point.
Right on.
0.3.
We're doing good, yeah.
Installing the bottom skid guard, T25s.